This last year, I have taken coding class after coding class. I have spent the last year doing a coding challenge, which is trying to code every single day for an entire year. But the thing is, when you do like tutorial style videos where you watch a video and you code on the side, they're always using a different code editor, whether it's VS Code or Jupyter or Visual Studio. It just feels like everything is always all over the place. There's never one specific code editor they are using. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've learned so many different code editors in the last year. But recently I used a code editor that was so convenient that I think it beats out the other code editors, and it's called Google Collab. You don't even need to download a desktop application. So in this video, we're gonna break down what Google Collab is, how to use it, and talk about some advantages it has over some other code editors that I've been using. If you're new here, my name is Liz. I'm a data science manager at Intel, and I like to test out different software. I like to do tutorial style videos. I like to do book reviews, all the things. So if you're into that, feel free to subscribe. Otherwise, let's jump into it. Now, Google Colab is a code editor that is in your web browser. So unlike VS Code or some other code editors that you have to download and install a desktop application, Google Colab, you don't have to do that. You literally just open it from your Google Drive. It's super simple. It looks very similar to Jupyter, but Jupyter, you have to run it in the terminal line, right, in VS Code. So Google Colab is a lot more convenient. So let's take a look on how to get it. So what we have here is, this is my Google Drive. So I'm in Google Drive. It's very clear, it says Drive. But you're gonna click New and then go to More and click Google Collaboratory. That's what Colab is for. If you don't see this, you actually have to press the Connect More Apps button and search Google Collaboratory and then add it as an admin. So you do have to have admin rights. Usually you do if you're just using Gmail or whatever. So add that and then you can open up a new one. Now I'm just gonna click one of the ones I've had open for a while. So in this one, this is what it looks like. So you have, it will be completely blank. Now I have some extra stuff because I have been running this. So essentially you just name it up here at the top. And so I just called my matplotlib because I was playing around with this library, and it already has Python installed. So you don't even need to install Python. You literally open this up and then you can start importing libraries, just like Python, but you don't actually have to download Python. It's so convenient. And then you just press these little play buttons. So after you write a little code, you press a play button and then it just plays and it just runs. Like, it's so easy. And then you can also see how much RAM you're taking and just other interesting stuff. You can also add text as well. So you can add code by pressing this plus, or add text doing this. You can like write, you can write stuff in here like, hello, you know, hi, whatever you want to write in here, hello. So then you can kind of like talk about your code or whatever. You're rarely gonna use this, honestly. Like, it's, who writes text in their code? Like, you just comment it out like a normal person. But see how it says the check mark here? So that means the code was run. Now, if you don't have, you can delete them using this delete stuff. But if I'm in this one and I wanna add a code box below, there are some shortcuts that I suggest memorizing. And that is Control and then press, so hold Control with your left pinky or whatever. Press MB and then bam, it pops up. Super weird Control MB, like I don't even know what that means. Margin bottom, I don't know. I got questions. And then you can start, you know, coding, you know, x equals 1 or whatever. And then Control Enter is how you run it. So you saw that when I press Control Enter, it runs. And then you can, you know, print x or whatever. And then it prints it. So you don't have to write, you know, print x. You can just literally write x and it will print it for you. It's very convenient. Now, the reason people like to use these kind of code editors that have the chunks and the play buttons is because you don't have to press print all the time, and you can also run your code. You can test little snips of your code, so you're not running an entire program like you would in VS Code, which is how I usually build some of my scripts. But here it's nice because you can kind of play around with it. So this is perfect for tutorial videos because you can name each tutorial up here. Like, I watched a video on matplotlib, so I just named one of my notebooks matplotlib, and then now it's stored in its own little section. So then if you want to open up some notes on matplotlib, you have an entire notebook dedicated on the subject. And you can also run things. You can see I made some plots. Now, if you don't see a number in this bracket here, then that means that it's not been run. So you'll see the check marks mean it's been run, and then here, you know, check. And then it tells you how many seconds it took or whatever. But it's very cool. This is perfect for when you're following a tutorial, or if you just want to open up code really quickly. You don't have to open up VS Code. You don't have to download anything. You don't have to install anything. It's very convenient. So I kind of touched on some of the advantages to using a notebook like this, and that is one, convenience. It is so much easier to open up a tutorial and then a notebook on the side and just start coding. Like, the barrier is gone. There is no friction. You literally have to open up your Google Drive. The other advantage is the play buttons. That means that you can kind of break up your code into a bunch of little snips and test them out individually, which I personally like, because usually I'm running an entire thing on VS Code, and then I comment out everything, and then I print certain parts, and it's kind of a hassle. But with Google Colab, you can just put them in, test little snips of your code, and it's a lot easier to just run a little piece of it than running the entire thing and then accidentally printing out the wrong thing and then redoing it. So those are the main advantages to using Google Colab. Overall, if you are using Google Colab as your code editor, I highly recommend using it alongside a tutorial style video, like something on Udemy. I take a ton of classes on Udemy or Skillshare, and then you can follow along and then write it in Google Colab instead of whatever weird code editor that they're kind of forcing you to use in their class. So I find it very convenient, and I've started to do that in my courses. If you're interested in seeing other software that I'm using day to day as a data scientist, I will also link up here videos of how to get into data science and kind of what libraries I'm using. Programming languages like Python is mainly what I'm using these days, pandas, that kind of stuff. I will link it here. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video.